Hey there. Hey, just after the season, just with everything that you've accomplished and heading into year sort of 15 in a few months. I don't know if you've had chance to really kind of think about that though, but what's kind of next for you? Like you've been an MVP in this league, you've been a champion, you've been a 10-time All-Star. Just what's kind of and you're in like top 10 in almost every record imaginable. What's going to be the thing that'll be driving you this offseason? What is the next step for you?
Oh, I mean, I can't always, you know, see the future and know what the next step is, but what keeps me going every day is just to be great, to win, um, to to just be my best. I think that that's kind of always been what I do, and with that comes different levels of accomplishment. I still have gas in the tank, so I want to make sure that I can use it in a way that suits my health, that suits how I want to be great. A lot of that is about winning, um, and hopefully just continuing to do what I love. I can't really say that I have a list of things that I'm trying to get to, but I still feel good, and I'm very grateful.
Nneka, you haven't played overseas or off-season basketball since like 2019.
Hmm.
Will that be the case again this off-season? And then, if so, just why does that continue to be sort of the best option for you personally, even with options like Unrivaled now out there?
Yeah, for me, it wasn't by choice that I stopped playing overseas. We experienced, the global pandemic. I was actually signed to go back to China. And after that, the world looked a little bit different. So it was kind of tough to find opportunities um, that felt familiar. And so with that, I just kind of tapped a little bit more into the off court opportunities, definitely into my responsibilities as president. And ultimately, I've been able to find a groove. And with that, I'm not planning on playing in any leagues in this off season. I am 35, 14 years in. As much as I love and support a lot of these great options for players to be able to not only continue to compete, but to be compensated more towards their value. I think for me, it's just not for me because of the tread on these tires. But I'm always going to be down there supporting whatever league it is. So I'm just my main goal this year. Actually, the one goal that I did write down was to be available, healthy, and play in every game of this season. And so I'm really glad that I was able to achieve that.
Nneka, are you able at this point to think about free agency and what it's going to maybe look like, especially in this unusual situation where two new expansion teams and basically everybody, because of the CBA being a free agent?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers to us being able to get to a conversation around free agency. I am currently thinking about rest and rejuvenation, but then also it's not lost on me that I get to tap into more of these meetings with us negotiating our CBA. I really don't. It's amazing that we have expansion. It's amazing um, that we're seeing so much success, but we can't really imagine any of that until after the CBA is negotiated and appropriately so based on the terms of these players.
You could probably answer this, spend all the minimal time we have with you, but thoughts on last, just the season. Obviously, in a positive way, but what do you take away? What are some of the things that'll make you move forward in what you described?
Hmm. I mean, this season we saw a lot of excitement around the movement, of different players, namely us being able to bring in who I think is going to be a phenom in Dominique Malonga, us being able to have a little bit of a core back and build off of that. Some returners coming, some familiar faces, and then of course, as natural as it is in the course of the season, you have player movement. I think that what we felt in the beginning was real. Us being able to compete and to perform at a really high level. Wherever that got lost, though, we were able to kind of find a little bit of it towards the end of the season. Maybe not as consistently as we had wanted to, but I'm still grateful for what we were able to accomplish together. And for us to be honest, like we were relatively healthy most of the season, and that's unheard of, especially with the limited roster size that we currently have, and with the increase and the the uptick of cadence of game. So there's a lot to. I think I'm still kind of reflecting, but I'm still very grateful for the environment that we were able to play in here in Seattle. It is unmatched. The fans are unrelenting, and we were able to kind of have a bittersweet taste in our mouth with that last home game. Obviously the series didn't go how we wanted, but that last home game to me was it was consummate of exactly what this like what what the season was like. Yeah.
Nneka, you've obviously played with some great post players in your career. Just curious, over the last few years, what you've seen from Ezzy. I know it hasn't been the offensive years she's wanted these last two, but obviously she's still an integral part of this franchise.
Ezzy, she is someone who is so consistently herself, both on and off the court. She appears to be unfazed by whatever assignment or responsibility is put upon her, and she gets a lot of, especially defensively, a lot of the heavy defensive assignments, but she has a way of just always finding a path towards being herself and showing what she's capable of. I have an amazing relationship. Hopefully she says the same thing, but I feel like I have an amazing relationship with Ezzy. She's truly like another little sister that I have in my life now, and she's both gracious and ferocious, and I just try to remind her of that every single day, and I really do feel like she just needs to get a little bit of rest and tap into, because I talked to her early in the season about kind of like the phases of your career. You're a rookie, no one really knows, no one has a scouting report on you, and then the second year is kind of hard as hell because now everybody knows what you can do, and then through that you kind of mature. You have different primes of your season, or sorry, of your career, and she was the age where I was trying to figure out myself as well. And I was just letting her know, like, not to be too hard on herself, and that there's always opportunity to reinvent yourself as a player and as a person, but then also not to get lost on expectations of what you think you should be doing, because she really was the anchor of a lot of what we did this year. And I really hope she feels that.
We'll take a few questions from Zoom. Roberta, go ahead.
Hi, Nneka. Recently, in that press conference with the WNBPA and the Democratic Women Caucus, you mentioned that it's really 7, if not all 13 teams that the PA is having to try a little harder to convince about the request for the CBA. That takes me back to when charter flights were implemented yet, and we heard some owners talking about it was either for money. Others even said that we don't want to start now and get players used to it. What are you hearing from owners, and what do you think it's going to take to convince them, not really convince, but to get them to give the players what they deserve?
I mean, the most conversation that I've had with owners was in our meeting at All Star. So since then, I haven't had conversations with any owners, but our PA staff is obviously in talks, more often than we are, because obviously the season was going on. But I think it's going to just continue to, it's going to be an evolving conversation. Players are seeking an innovative, and I guess not really innovative because other leagues do it, but players are seeking a new salary structure, salary system, and we're very serious about it. So as I've now kind of phased out of my season this year, I'm going to be able to be in hopefully more meetings and more conversations to ensure that what the players are seeking in these negotiations is reflected in the new CBA.
Thank you.
Last question will go to Jeff on Zoom. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, Nneka, after game three post game, you had mentioned the Storm ownership group had like a conversation either with you or with you guys. I don't know if that happened after game three or before, but can you just kind of summarize maybe what was said during that?
It must have been after game 3. Okay, after they came in the locker room. Okay, yeah, yeah. So yes, the engagement from this ownership group is unmatched, quite frankly. We see them every day. They're involved every day. They invest. They ask us what we need. They pour into this organization, and that, as you all know, is something that I said really drew me to Seattle. And so, after the game, obviously, it didn't end up how we wanted, but it was imparted upon us that we were still a part of a legacy, considering that I think Brum said that we had made playoffs 78% of the time, I think, since the existence of this team. And for us to be able to, especially considering our record after the All-Star, we were still able to make playoffs. We were still able to compete down to the wire to advance in the playoffs. And I felt a sense of pride. It's honorable to be able to wear this jersey and to be able to represent this organization and to be able to play in this city. So I'm just very grateful for the time that I've been able to have, continuing to build, on my career and to be a part of a great legacy. So I'm very grateful to them, and I feel like my teammates were too, even though the season didn't end how we wanted. But I wouldn't have done it with any other group.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.